Hi everyone, my name is Govind. I'm a realtor here in Austin, Texas, and let me just start off by saying that this video is being made by popular demand. If you watch my other videos on YouTube, or if you know me personally, you will know that I recently purchased a house in Austin, and perhaps more interestingly is that I live here for free, meaning that I don't pay the mortgage, I don't pay rent. I get to live here in my house, and I get to live for free. Obviously there was an initial investment, which is the down payment, but other than that, no cost associated. I don't pay for utilities. I don't pay for maintenance. And it's a home. It's a house. It has land. The land is mine. It's been really, really good to me. I mean, it has literally changed my life. And if you're a personal friend of mine, you'll know that I talk on and on and on about it. But after I posted those other two videos, a lot of people were either doubtful, which is good. It's good to have healthy skepticism, or they were more curious about the numbers. And I have a lot of clients who are younger, who are similar to my age, and were in a similar position. They're working for tech companies, or they just graduated college, and they're finally making good money, and they don't want it sitting around in cash. And they looked at my video and they're like, okay, so you're doing house hacking, you bought a house, you're having it paid for. How did you do that? What are the numbers for that? And for my data-driven friends, this video is for you. We are going to go through 3 case studies. The first case study is going to be my house and the return on investment there. The second case study is going to be a client of mine who is also doing house hacking and is quickly discovering that they can do it very successfully. And we're going to look on their ROI. And the third case study is going to be a house that looks like a good house hack, but actually isn't. And for those of you who are new to this concept, house hacking, all it is you buy a house, you live in one of the rooms, you rent the other rooms out, they pay for the mortgage. That's house hacking. That's pretty much the premise of it. If you want to know more, you can look at my other videos on my YouTube channel. And yeah, so without any delay, let's just go right into the first case study. Hey, so let's dive right into the first case study, which is my personal house. So this is my house. I mean, they have different variations of it, but more or less, this is what it looks like. It's a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2-car garage, but really what really matters is the 5-bedroom portion of it. So I'm going to be using tools that are available to anybody. They're mortgage calculators. I'm using Bankrate's mortgage calculator just because I like how I like how it looks. One of the things I like about Bankrate's mortgage calculator is if you make extra payments, it'll show you how much sooner you can pay off your mortgage. And it also has a very nifty amortization schedule, which I'll explain in a bit. But my house was $315,000. I put 10% down. I got a 2.75 interest rate over a 30-year mortgage, and it's a conventional mortgage. It's not an FHA or a VA loan. I wasn't eligible for that. But this is the payment breakdown. So my principal and interest every month, the amount that actually goes towards paying off the house and paying off the loan, that's the amount. My homeowner's insurance is $66 a month, which is calculated by my total yearly insurance premium is $800 and something. My property tax is fairly low. I live in this area. This big circle. And if you want to see where that's relative to Austin, that's Austin. This is Hornsby Bend. I live there. And the property taxes there are really low. They're less than 2%. The reason being this rectangle right here, that entire rectangle is the Tesla factory. And in order for Tesla to come here, they negotiated very, very strong terms with the city. And so every piece of property in this vicinity has a tax rate that is less than 2%. So it's really nice. And then I have an HOA fee, which unfortunately is $30 a month. But you know what? Pick your battles, whatever. So this is my payment per month. Now, what I like about Bankrate's mortgage calculator, and I'm sure there's plenty of other mortgage calculators that do this, is there's an amortization schedule. For those of you that don't know what amortization is or need a refresher, amortization is simply the process of which your payment to the bank is split up between principal and interest. What does this mean? Well, let me adjust this so the numbers are nice. Let's pretend I started the mortgage on the first day of the year. Every month, this is the amount that goes towards the bank and the mortgage. It's split up between principal and interest. Principal is the amount that pays off the loan. Interest is the amount that the bank is charging for giving me the loan. And as I'm paying the loan out, every payment, more of that payment is split towards principal over interest. You can see in my first payment, I'm actually paying more interest than actually paying off the house. But as I go down, you can see that as I'm paying the house off, I'm paying more towards the house than the loan. Than the price of the loan, which is the interest. So that's a brief overview of that. But how does this work as a rental property? So this is where this calculator comes in. It's just a rental property calculator. It's very simple. There's plenty of variations of this. I find that this one is the best for me to use initial numbers to determine if a property is even worth considering. But let's go down all the values. So this is the purchase price. I put 10% down. This was my interest rate. That's my loan term. Now, I had no closing costs. I went with the builder's lender. My house is a new construction home. So I went with the builder's lender and they covered all of my closing costs. And this is my property tax yearly. This is my total insurance yearly. As you can see, this is where I get where is it? 66 from. 66 times 12 is just 831. My HOA fee is $120 per month per year. Now I said it was $30 a month here. It's actually $30 per quarter. I just put monthly here because I like to be conservative. I guess in that case I could put 10. And my maintenance is going to be 1% of the house price. I have a new construction home. I anticipate no maintenance for the first couple of years, except minor things, but the 1% rule is a pretty good rule. And then other costs, something is going to come up. I know something annoying is going to come up. It already has, like a cabinet broke and I had to replace a door, so that was like $50. So small expenses like that. And here you see the annual increase. So what I like to do here is I like to make these values match inflation. Inflation is targeted at 2%. For those of you who have been following the Fed and following monetary policy, you will know that it is not going to stay as low as 2%. So I just put 3. And now here is my income. So monthly rent is $3,200. How did I get that number? I have 4 bedrooms that are, I have 4 other bedrooms besides the one that I live in my house. Each one I charge $800 a month, and that's how I get this number. I don't have any other monthly income. I don't charge for parking. I don't charge for, like anything else other than rent. I'm a pretty straightforward rule guy. My vacancy rate is 5%. What does that mean? That means that within the year, I expect that my room is going to be vacant 5% of the time. Now, I can tell you that I have not had an issue with this. I don't actually have a 5% vacancy rate. It's probably close to like 4 or 5 days out of the year. But I put this just to be conservative. And this is all default values. I'm not really going to mess with this. I don't intend to sell the house. This is fun to play with if you want to buy and hold for 20 years and see how much cash you make after 20 years, But yeah, let's calculate this. It's actually already calculated. So this is what it comes down to. My income monthly is $3,200. We knew that. My mortgage payment itself is that. My vacancy rate. So what this is doing is it's saying, okay, let's pretend that 5% of this, 5% of the month, it's empty and I prorate the rent. That's how much money I lose. So that's marketed, or that's illustrated as a cost. This is my property tax per month. This is my insurance per month. This is my HOA fee per month. My maintenance cost, which is just this divided by 12. And other costs, and that is extrapolated to a year. So these are the yearly or annual numbers for the monthly equivalents. So while these numbers are great and they can really give you a lot of information, I've compiled them into a different spreadsheet actually. So this is my house, that's the percent down, and this is my initial investment. So 10% of that is this. my total rental income is $36,480. How did I get that? Well, my rental income is that per month, times 12 is that. But remember, times 12 is 38,400. But remember, I have a vacancy that I'm budgeting for. So the way I get the 36,000, it's actually the same number right here, by the way. But the way I get this number is I just subtract my vacancy rate, from my total rental income. So that's how I get this number. What are my expenses? Well, those are my expenses. How did I get that number? I actually just added the mortgage and the other maintenance expenses. I just add them into one number, and so this is what I get for that. So what's my rental profit? Well, my rental profit is going to be my total rental income minus my total expenses. There we go. Sneak peek there. So that's my rental profit. My free living value. So a lot of people fail to consider this, and this is something that I actively considered when buying a house hack, but it's okay not to, is remember I'm living for free. And what would I otherwise be paying per year? Well, if I was to say my room is $800 a month, $800 a month would be $9,600 a year. So this is how much of value I get from this house. And we can play around with this numbers. I actually set this to 0 to see what you can see so that you guys can see the ROI if you don't calculate this. And the last thing to consider is what is the equity I build after 1 year? Now, equity is how much of the house that you have. To explain it, it's like when I put 10% down, I own 10% of that house. But I'm not calculating that. I'm calculating how much equity did I build over 1 year of paying mortgages. So let's calculate that. After 1 year, this is how much equity I have. It's how much principal I've paid off as of 1 year. That's how much. This is not including the down payment. This is equity I've built as I've been paying the mortgage. So I've added that here. It's the same number. So what's the total value I get? The total value is going to be the rental profit plus the free living value plus the equity I've built over a year of paying the mortgages. That's what it's going to be. And so that's the amount of value I've gotten from this house out of 1 year. What is the return on investment? Well, my initial investment was $31,500. If this is the amount of value that I've gotten, the return of investment is going to be the value I've gotten out of proportion or divided by the initial investment. And so that's my ROI. And for those of you who are very math heavy or very investment math heavy, that's a pretty good ROI. Well, I still haven't made my money. I still haven't made back. If it was past 100%, I would have made my money and more. But after 1 year, I've already made 87% of that. That's pretty good. What about after 2 years? Actually, before that, a lot of people don't think free living value matters. And you know what? I disagree. But for the sake of arguments, let's actually zero this out. What's my ROI there? It's 56%. That's still not bad. I mean, most stocks, they grow 15% a year. And even if I don't count equity, which you definitely should count equity, but you know what? Whatever. Let's not count it. 38%. Like after 3 years, I would have made my money. And, when I sell it, that's where equity and free living value come into play. But, that's pretty large. But anyway, aside from that, this is insane. Let's talk about 2 years. What's my equity that I built after 2 years? Well, after my second year, this is how much equity I should have. About $12,000, $11,967. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. The total value I get after my second year is going to be the following. It's going to be my rental profit times 2. I'm not even counting inflation, by the way, but my rental profit times 2. My free living value times 2, and then the total equity I built after 2 years. So to express that mathematically, it would be 2 times my rental profit and my free living value plus my equity after 2 years. That's what it would be. This is how much money in terms of value I get after 2 years. Now remember, I put $31,500. Technically, I've already made my money, but let's be rational about it. Let's actually calculate the ROI. So the ROI after my second year would be the total value I get in proportion to or divided by my initial investment. That's my ROI. Again, what if this is 0? Let's zero that out. What if we don't count free living value? Still, I've made my money plus 15% after 2 years. I think that's pretty good. It's better than 15% a year. It's 115% over 2 years. Now, my friend and client of mine also bought a house to House Hack, and he has allowed me to use his numbers as a case study. So his house price, he actually bought a 5x3 as well, and his house price was significantly higher than mine. And the reason is because he bought recently, and I was able to secure the price a year ago. There's a corny real estate saying that the best time to buy real estate is 5 years ago. I couldn't stress that enough. It really is. But regardless, this was the price of his home, and he wanted to put 5% down. He got a better rate than I did on a 30-year mortgage. He worked really hard on his credit score. And this is his payment breakdown. So that's how much is going to go towards principal and interest, meaning the price of the loan, meaning the loan amount and then the price of that loan. That's his homeowner's insurance. That's his property tax. He actually lives in the same area, which is right next to Tesla. And so all of our renters work for Tesla or one of its contractors, by the way. And that's his HOA fees. And so you can see this is an amortization schedule. Every month he pays, most of it's going to go to interest, but slowly and surely, more is going to go to principal every time. You can see that these principal numbers increase every month and the interest portion of the payment decreases every month. Anyway, what's his ROI? How can we calculate that? So this is his sheet. This is the purchase price. He had 5% down. This was his interest rate, 30 years, and he paid, we're rounding it, but $1,000 in closing costs. This is his property tax, total insurance, HOA fees, maintenance, other costs. His home is a little bit older, and so things are probably going to break slightly more. But regardless, the 1% of the house price should be more than sufficient. And he's living in one of those rooms. He's actually getting more rent than $3,200 because he's not living in the master and he's renting the master out for more. But just to make it easy, we're saying he's going to charge the same monthly rent as I am, $800 a month. He's going to increase every year by 3% to match inflation. He's not charging for parking. He's assuming a 5% vacancy rate, all of that. And let's calculate this. So these numbers are pretty much the same concept as my house. Why wouldn't they be? It's a calculator. It's supposed to do what it's supposed to do. But this is what I plugged in for his house. So he had, this price. He put 5% down. He put 5% down. So his initial investment is this. Now, what it really is 19. Plus 1,000. Yeah. So he had $1,000 of closing costs. His total rental income is going to be the same as mine because he has the same number of rooms and it's in the same area. His total expenses are different. His total expenses are going to be this mortgage payment plus all of his other expenses. So added together, that's going to be about $29,000 to $30,000. Yeah. And so his rental profit, what's his rental profit? His rental profit is going to be, again, it's already autofilling, but this minus this, that's all. So he's making less profit than I am. So maybe this isn't a good house hack. His free living value is going to be the same. we can play around with this number as well. The equity that he built after paying 1 year of payments, the mortgage is paying 1 year of payments, how much principal total did he get? Let's look at his amortization schedule. So to make the numbers easy, I like to say it starts on the first of a year, doesn't really matter, but that's how much money he now has put into the actual price of the loan. So you can see that he paid this total, but that's how much actually went to paying off the house. This is all interest. And this is true for all mortgages, by the way. So that number's right there. What's the total value? It's going to be the rental profit plus the free living value. Remember, he's living for free. How much would he have had to pay otherwise to do that? He would have probably had to pay more to live in an apartment, but he's getting to live for free, so that's the value we're putting. And the equity he's built after 1 year of payments. So that is going to be $23,500. What's his ROI? His ROI is going to be this in proportion to his initial investment, which is going to be 120%. Why is this higher than mine if he's getting less value? It's because he put 5% down and I put 10% down. And actually, if I could do it again, I would do the same thing. I would put 5% down and have the other 5% as cash to invest elsewhere, or maybe do renovations on the house or add something. But that's fine. Hindsight is 20/20. But he's making 120% ROI if we calculate free living and equity. Now, what if he doesn't calculate that? He's still making that. He's still making 71% of his money back. Within 2 years, he would have made his money back. Remember, to make your money back, it has to be 100%. What if he doesn't even calculate equity? That's still pretty good. Anyway, after his second year, how much equity has he built up? Let's look at his amortization schedule. After his second year, the amount of principal he's paid is $15,200. There it is. What's the total value? His total value is going to be the same formula here. It's going to be 2 times the rental profit, 2 times the free living value, and it's going to be the total equity he's made, or he's paid off on the house. That's how much. What's his ROI? His ROI is this number in proportion to his initial investment. What's that going to be? $245. This is why house hacking is so lucrative, because you can rent by the room, but more importantly, what really gets the value there is you live for free. You do not pay anything. That's the way I like to think about it. Another thing I've had some of my clients do is they actually pay this money to themselves. So, they're living for free, but what they're really doing is they're paying $800 extra towards the mortgage to pay it off, which would mean that this number would be 0 and your rental income would be plus $9,600 because they're paying rental income. Your numbers are going to be the same here. The advantage of that is you pay off your loan faster, but the numbers are going to be the same here for ROI. They're treating it as a pure rental income that, even they are a renter, is essentially what that means. Now, as you can see, house hacking, very lucrative, but not all houses are good at house hacking, and I'm going to explain that in my third case study. Okay, so we're actually going to do this example, the last case study, together. So I went ahead and found this house. It's actually in the same neighborhood or area in which, I bought my house and my client bought their house. But this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and this is what it closed for. So let's go ahead and work those numbers. I've went ahead and entered it here to get the amortization schedule, but let's just jump into the rental property calculator. So this is the purchase price. I'm going to say that I'm going to put 5% down on this home. I'm confident that I could get the same rate that I did for the home that I currently have. And I'm going to do a 30-year fixed rate conventional loan. And I'm going to say, we had $1,000 of closing costs. I calculated property taxes for this price. So I basically multiplied this price by 1.9475 which is the property tax rate here in this neighborhood. And like I said, for the other two houses, the property tax in this area is so nice, it's below 2%. I calculated insurance to be $900. HOA is going to be $300. Maintenance is going to be 1% of the purchase price. So that's just 1% of this. So I just divided that by 100 basically. And then other costs, 200. Now this house was built in 2017. And I don't envision or predict that this house is going to have a lot of issues. So let's go ahead with that. My monthly rent, I have a 3-bedroom house. My monthly rent is going to be $800, which is the rent per room, times 2 bedrooms, because I'm going to live in one. So that's going to be $1,600. I don't charge for parking, vacancy rate at 5%. I'm living in it, so no management fee. All of this stuff is going to be default. Let's go ahead and calculate this. So automatically you see that there's red, which isn't a good sign, but this isn't calculating the total value. This is calculating it as a regular rental property. Remember, you're getting value out of it too. So let's go ahead and plug in these numbers into our spreadsheet. So let's go here. This is our purchase price. We're going to put 5% down, which means that, and I'm going to assume $1,000 worth of closing costs. That's being pretty generous, to be honest, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt on this house. That's how much of an initial investment it took to get into this house. Fair. Total rental income. Let's look at the rental property calculator. The total rental income for 1 year, for the first year, is going to be this. And again, I know that the annual income goes up every year. Let's just make the numbers simple. We want to get a ballpark estimate. The whole purpose of this is not to find the perfect house, but to see if a house can be house hacked properly or not. So we're going to take this number. How did they get this number? Again, they took the annual amount that you would have gotten and then subtracted a vacancy rate of 5%. That's how they got that number. But let's put this into our spreadsheet. What are our expenses? Our expenses are going to be the mortgage plus the maintenance expenses. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to copy this and say this is going to equal this plus that. I'm going to get rid of these commas because Google doesn't like them. Those are expenses, and you can already see that the rental profit is looking fairly abysmal. Remember, rental profit is total rental income minus expenses. So we're just going to copy that formula, minus $10,000. All right, okay, not super great off the bat. And I'm actually going to skip the free living value because while, determining a house hack, free living value is something that is nice to have, but we're going to add that at the end for this case. The amount of equity that I build after 1 year. So this is my mortgage. This is the amortization schedule. Now, this is wrong. The reason it's wrong is because I haven't entered the right values for these, but I don't care because all the amortization schedule looks at is this amount. So after 1 year, I'm just going to put it on January 1st. After 1 year, how much equity have I built into the property? That's how much. Let's copy that. Let's paste it. Total value first year. Well, that's not very good. It's actually negative. And if I do the ROI, it's negative 19, meaning that I actually, don't make any money at all. I don't get any return. I'm actually paying money to live in this house, which is fine. But if you're looking for a house hack, that's not what you want, obviously. What happens if I say, well, I'm living there for free. $9,600 a year is how much I would have paid. Now it's better. It's better, but it's not as high as it really should be, to be honest. What I recommend for house hacks is if your ROI on this calculator is 50 to 60% or above, that's a good house hack. This guy is killing it. And that's why I'm using him as a case study. Equity after year 2. Let's look at the amortization schedule. After 2 years, how much equity have I built? $14,381.02. Let's go ahead and plug this in. total value, we're gonna redo that. Now I'm in, you know, I have $12,000 of total value. What's my ROI? Okay, not bad. Not as good as it should be, but not bad. This is a house that if I had a client and I plugged this in, I would show them the spreadsheet and I would say, if you really love this house, that's fine. But recognize that you better be having a lot of value for living for free. Like this house better be, you know, your dream house, or have something that allures you to this house so much that your free living value increases. So looking around at this calculator, you can see what actually makes a house or makes a property or makes a situation a good house hack. The three things to remember are your initial investment, your rental income, and your total expenses are the three things that actually, you know, make or break whether a house can be properly house hacked. If I put 5% down instead of 10% down, my ROI went from 86 to 173% per year. By the way, for regular rental property investments, a lot of times they try and get away with as little of a down payment as they can, and it's for this reason. It's because your ROI is much higher. Your total rental income. There's only really one thing that affects this in house hacking, and that is heads in bedrooms. The more bedrooms you have, the more you can charge because the more rooms you have. Now, granted, I'm charging $800 per room, and the way I calculated that rate is probably for another video. Long story short, that's what the market deemed was appropriate. I looked on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, that's around what people were charging in my area. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm charging. And then expenses. If you can get your expenses down, that's ideal. Expenses are a lot harder to control. Now, I don't think that they can go up too much. They can go up. But if you can get your expenses down, like your maintenance costs down, you will have a higher ROI. So playing around with these numbers, the more cases you do, the better you'll get at determining which house is a crazy house hack. You could see why my friend, you know, jumped on this house, because as soon as he saw it, you know, it's more expensive, but his initial investment's not that high. There's clearly, by the way, guys, in the Tesla area in Hornsby Bend in Austin, there is so much demand for people who want to live there as commuters who work for Tesla, that the rental income's not really an issue. And, you know, his ROI is ridiculous. It's insane. And it's very rare for people to get that in the stock market. Plus, at the end of the day, you now have a house that's under your name. So there's a lot of pros to house hacking that I can tell. It's probably why there was so much interest in my last two videos. So these are the numbers, guys. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to walk through this. I might actually put this spreadsheet as public, but it's nothing special. Like, I literally made it in front of you guys, so not a big deal. That's basically the premise of house hacking, and those are the numbers. I am really glad I got to make this video. I know that it's been requested. I've explained it several times, and I just wanted to have, you know, one source where I could just point people to. Thank you so much. If you found any usefulness or utility out of this video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, help other people as well. All right, guys, that's basically it. I hope that you see that the numbers are pretty good for house hacking. You know, the reason I made this video is I'm a realtor in Austin, and I help all sorts of buyers and sellers buy and sell real estate here in the area, and I have seen a significant uptick in the percentage of our team's clients who are younger, who have gotten their first good paying job, and who want to invest in something that's tangible and has a utility. If you guys are looking to buy anything in the Austin area, I'm a real estate agent in Austin. We're one of the top teams here in the Central Texas area, so please give me a shout out or reach out. My contact is going to be in the description below on YouTube, so if you're watching this on Facebook, just message me. So yeah, all right, see you guys later. Bye.